Hey friends, it's Baris here. Hope you're all good. Today we are diving into another song and I think you are going to enjoy it. This time we will be breaking down a section from Dream Theater's The Dance of Eternity. You know, this song is like a lesson itself, and what John Petrucci plays in this section is something that I give to my guitar students as a homework because it helps to see how arpeggios spread all over the fretboard. You know, one of the things guitar players avoid the most is moving all over the fretboard. I think this is mainly because they don't have a visual mastery of it. They tend to spend their time in a single position and waiting to switch when they feel ready. The second reason is that even if they can visualize it, they can't position their hands so quickly. But as you can hear and see in this section, there's a lot of position changing on the fretboard. Normally, playing each of these arpeggios can be easy on its own, but you know, when changing positions so quickly like this, it suddenly becomes something difficult. As you probably know, in order to generate exercises from a song, we first need to define what's happening. So let's see what we got. In this section, we have three different chords, which are E minor, F sharp major, and A minor. In the first round, we have two different patterns consecutively for E minor chord, and then we are going to play the following F sharp major and A minor chord once each. So let me show you. But then in the second turn, Petrucci uses two different patterns for not only E minor but also F sharp major too, and the section ends with A minor chord. And he cuts it short to fit the measure. So it's something like. So the potential benefits of working through this part of the song are starting to take shape. First of all, it helps you quickly recognize different arpeggio patterns and shapes for each chord all over the fretboard. Second thing, it forces you to move frequently across the fretboard. Third and lastly, it helps with sweep picking. Now let's generate some exercises that will help us learn these skills. If your guitars are ready, let's get started. Okay, in this exercise, I will move through three different arpeggio shapes for the same chord. I will show you three different shapes for a minor chord that we will choose and then three for a major chord. You can add diminished and augmented chords in later, but for now, I'm going to do for minor and major chords only. Since the song is in the key of E minor, let's do the same and use E minor arpeggios. So let me show you the patterns first. Now let's practice this with a metronome. At first I will play each one 4 times, and once I get used to it and you know the patterns become clear, I will reduce the number of repetitions. By the way, stick with triplets until you are comfortable with the technique. In Dance of Eternity, it is played with 16 notes, but you can work up to that later on because the mutes are placed between the 16 notes. It sounds like, groups of 5. And if you try to do that without mastering the technique, it will probably sound more confusing. Let's also apply this to other minor chords in the key of E minor, which is B minor and A minor. There's also an F sharp major chord in Dance of Eternity, but it doesn't fit the key exactly. It should be F sharp diminished normally, so we can consider it as a borrow chord. And because of that, I will create the exercise with a chord that exists in the key of E minor, such as G major, which is the relative major of E minor. So now let's start with G major, and I will show you the patterns first. Let's also adapt this to other major chords in the key of E minor, which are D major and C major. Now that we have the basic exercises, let's continue with some exercises that sound more realistic. For this purpose, let's plan transitions between chords of the same type, like 3 minor or 3 major chords we just worked on. I will play E minor chord in 4 different positions consecutively again, and then switch to 4 different positions of B minor and then continue with A minor. This will help us recognize shapes for, different chords more rapidly and quickly. And at the same time, by working in this way, we will create a chord progression that will sound more organic. Now let's practice the same thing with major chords this time, and our chords will be G major, D major and C major. Now let's blend minor and major patterns. 1-3-5-7 progression works great for this, and in this situation our chords will be E minor, G major, B minor and D major, So this way we will be alternating between minor and major chords. I will play each chord in 4 different positions again and then move to the next one. Now I will play each chord in 2 positions and trying to start each new arpeggio in the same position of the previous arpeggio, because this is a similar approach to what's used in the Dance of Eternity. For example, I will use these 2 patterns for E minor, and since the last arpeggio is in this position, I will start G major here as well, and then B minor, and lastly D major. So far. By the way, if you want to download the backing tracks I used for these exercises, the link is in the description down below. As you can see, I try to make it as understandable as possible. I hope you are not so confused, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And that brings us to the end of the video, I guess. As you might guess, doing these kinds of exercises can often feel boring, you know, but when you have a song idea crafted from the same information, I think it's easier to stay motivated. As I said in the beginning of the video, I give these kinds of exercises to my guitar students. It helps them to understand how to turn what they learn into real music. Over time, they start to recognize the patterns in songs they listen to and trying to play. Soon, I will be sharing extended versions of these exercises as a package, and if they are available, you will find the links in the description down below. Because, you know, fitting everything into one video is almost impossible, but I tried to cover the basics in this video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and please don't forget to share it with your friends who are learning these kinds of things and techniques. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.